Hello and welcome to the July 2022 edition of SPS Global Insights Report, intending to inform you of critical incidents around the world relating to kidnap, ransom, extortion and piracy. We begin in South America. In mid-June 2022, Ecuador exploded into violent protests. These protests were against inflation, unemployment, high food and fuel prices, all exacerbated over the past 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The protests were led by the indigenous nationalities of Ecuador, Confederación de Nacionalidades Indígenas del Ecuador, or CONAIE, considered the most influential indigenous movement in Latin America. CONAIE has been instrumental in toppling 3 Ecuadorian presidents in the past 25 years. This history, coupled with the fuel and food shortages caused by the protests, prompted President Lasso to concede to CONAIE demands in late June after 2 weeks of protests. However, Lasso's approval ratings have dropped significantly, and he narrowly avoided impeachment in late June, which may prompt more protests in the future. Moving into Africa now. Burkina Faso has descended into violence that surpasses that of its neighbours Mali and Niger. According to the ACLED, in 2021, Burkina Faso experienced violence that led to 2,354 fatalities, exceeding that of Mali. This is in part due to various armed factions attempting to gain control of Burkina Faso's gold mines and regional trade routes connecting other landlocked Sahel countries to the West African coast. In addition, the country continues to deal with kidnappings by terrorist groups, retaliatory attacks by rival organizations, and extrajudicial killings by Burkinabe security forces. Tanzania's border with Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province, whose growing violent insurgency was discussed in June's Global Insights, is creating increasing security concerns for this relatively peaceful country. Despite increased security along the Tanzania-Mozambique border, reporting indicates that informal border crossings have continued nearly unabated. Officials and analysts alike have voiced concerns this is allowing insurgents and terrorists to generally move freely between the two countries. Over the past 2 years, terrorists crossed the border and carried out numerous attacks in southern Tanzania. Whilst the military successfully drove the terrorists out, Cabo Delgado's recent spike in violence has officials concerned that the violence will spill over the border into Tanzania once again. Looking at Asia now, and on the 29th of May 2022, popular Indian singer Sidhu Moosewala was shot dead in Mansa, Punjab, India. It is being reported that he was murdered after refusing to pay numerous extortion demands. Canada-based Indian gangster Goldie Brar, who is active in Punjab, claimed responsibility for the killing. Brar claims to have teamed with the notorious Lawrence Bishnoi gang to engineer the plot. Since Moosewala's murder, numerous businesses, businessmen and tradesmen throughout the region are reporting that they are receiving extortion threats. The extortionists are claiming to be a part of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, though authorities suspect that they are imposters with no links to the gang. Let's take a closer look at the cyberspace. The prolific cybercrime organization Conti has seemingly retired its brand after announcing it was ceasing operations in May 2022 and shutting down all remaining sites in June 2022. This comes after it sided with Russia in the country's war with Ukraine and subsequently found itself the subject of increased law enforcement scrutiny, as well as experiencing a major internal leak which publicly exposed its tools and tactics. The criminals behind Conti have not retired, however. Ransomware as a service syndicate Black Basta emerged in April 2022 and is said to be comprised of former Conti members. Since then, Black Basta has amassed nearly 50 victims in the US, Canada, the UK, Australia and New Zealand. We hope our SPS Global Insights report has been of value and urge you to read the full report for a comprehensive overview of the SPS Kidnapping, Piracy and Ransom Bulletin. Stay tuned for next month's edition.